All right, good afternoon. I want you guys to think back to freshman year and remember your first spring break in college. Okay, so when I was a freshman, I was really excited to go home. I got in my car, got on 81, and I was driving down the highway. And I'll admit, I might have been doing 70 and 65, but I was really eager to get home. And I was driving on the highway when suddenly the car to my right decided to merge into my lane. Unfortunately, I was in the spot that he was trying to merge into. And so what happened was I had to make a split decision. It was either move out of his way or get hit by his car. And so I decided to try and avert a collision. And as soon as I did that, all I know is I lost control, and suddenly I found myself spinning until, boom, I hit the guardrail. And so I was still spinning in the car when I hit the guardrail and hit it twice, once in the front and once in the back. And so right after the accident, I was shaken up. I had to gather myself. Finally realized, okay, I need to call the cops, I need to call my insurance, all this sort of stuff. So I started making the phone calls, stepped out of the car, and I was waiting for the police on the side of the road. And I noticed this. And this is the guardrail that I hit, and the road, and the damage to the road that the accident caused. And what I realized at that point was, on the other side of the guardrail, there's about a 20-foot drop that goes straight into a ditch. Now, it's hard to say what would have happened if there wasn't a guardrail there, but I'm pretty sure if I had gone off the road, I would have flipped over, probably been seriously injured or killed. And this really made me think about my life. Like, what if something had happened, something terrible had happened that day? What would have happened at that point? And so that's what I'm going to talk to you today about, what's important in life. So, as a freshman, I was thinking, what's important in my life? There were pretty much only three things in my life at the time. And that was academics, the core, and video games. So those three things kind of defined my life. Each day I was doing homework, I was shining some shoes or brass, and after we got the privilege, I finally got to play some video games. But other than that, that was pretty much all I had in my life. I wouldn't say I was unhappy, but it wasn't always fulfilling. Each day was never really fulfilling. And so when I thought about what is it that actually makes me happy and what makes me feel fulfilled about my life, it's something that wasn't really a physical thing. It wasn't money. It wasn't the grade on a piece of paper. What it is something that's intangible. And those are things I believe we talked about earlier that you can't smell, touch, or feel. So the three things that I think are important in life are the experiences that you have, the relationships that you have with others, and the impact that you have on the world around you. So, when it comes to experiences in life, when I was a sophomore, I have a friend on Facebook who started this project that she was doing, and it's called the 365 Project. And what it is you take a photo each day for 365 days. And the rules are you have to either take the photo or be in the photo. And you can't take 50 photos in one day and count it for 50 days. The photo has to be taken on the day that you've been used for. So I thought that was a pretty nifty idea, and I picked it up, decided to try it out. And at first when I started it, the pictures were pretty goofy. So one of the first nights, the first week that I started, I was ironing my BDUs for a standby inspection. And I was trying to press some creases into my BDUs, so I stacked some textbooks on my BDUs and got this picture. Not very artsy, pretty boring. Some of the other things that I photographed were events on campus. So that fall we had ring premiere, and there were fireworks on the drill field. So I went out to the drill field of the pylons, snapped this nice picture. And then we also had events that I was going through. So this is my fire team, my first semester fire team. We went paintballing for the day, and I snapped this picture for that day. But there's not fireworks on the drill field every day, and you can't go paintballing every day, unfortunately. So what I found was I was having a hard time trying to take a picture of events. And so I had to start noticing the world differently. And that's what I'm talking about when I say you experience the world differently. What I started to see was small things around me. One morning in October, I woke up, I walked on the drill field, and I noticed the morning fog, and I snapped that picture of the pylons up there. There's also sunrises and sunsets every day, and there's a unique canvas that's painted in the sky that you can never really see again. Probably the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen is the one on the top right. There's no filter, hashtag no filter. That is the Schultz crane, but the color of the sky was just immaculate. But there's beauty in small and large things. So even in like a campfire flame, you can see the colors within the flame or the flowers on campus. And so as I was looking for these little minute details in life that I had been missing, I decided I wanted to kind of capture that in one particular spot. So I took this building on campus in the fall when the leaves were changing, and I went back in the winter and in the spring to capture it in all 3 seasons. And you can see that there's a lot of things that you walk by probably every day and you never really noticed about this photo. The light, the way that the leaves turn different colors on different trees, some of the texture of the stone. These are all things that we take for granted as we walk day to day on campus. So as I'm walking through and I'm trying to find these photos, I also found that I was starting to do things specifically for photos. I was actually venturing out of my normal, ordinary life and trying to find new experiences to share with others. So I got into things like this. I did the 3.2 run as a sophomore and captured that picture of the balloons being let go. The April 16th vigil, that was the last candlelight vigil that we had on campus. I always wanted to try dancing, so I went to a swing dance and actually captured that picture. It's not me dancing, but that was that evening. The Air Force Memorial's in DC. I don't know, how many of y'all live in DC? Yeah, have you ever been to the Air Force Memorial? For me, I knew that it was in DC and I had always wanted to go, but I just never had the opportunity. And one morning I woke up, I said, I need a picture for the day. I'm gonna go to DC. I drove out there, got to visit the Air Force Memorial, got to see all the things, got to see From Warrior's name on the wall, got to take the picture. And another thing that I wanted to do was see an Airbus A380. That's the largest commercial aircraft in service. It's 2 decks, the entire fuselage. So I actually drove out to Dallas Airport, sat just ahead of the runway and waited for the aircraft to come in from Paris. I was there for about an hour waiting for it because I didn't really know what time it was coming in. So, but I finally got to see one of those, and that's pictured here. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at. Each day you have the opportunity to see a new experience, and if you don't step out of your normal day-to-day zone, you're going to miss the flowers on the tree. You're going to miss the opportunity to see stuff that goes on around you. And so that's one of the things that I think is really important in life, is actually living in the world that you're in. The next thing I want to talk to you about is relationships. So each day we interact with people in a variety of ways, whether they be friends, family, coworkers, etc. And I feel like each day is an opportunity to interact with them, and it could be your last opportunity. I talked a little bit about my accident earlier. If I had been killed that day, I don't know what sort of reputation I would have had with some of my buds. My freshman year, I was kind of like a sheltered hermit, and like nobody really knew me. And that was kind of one of the things that I realized. I didn't know my buds. And so some of the things that I've done since the accident is trying to get to know people and be there for life events. So on the left side here is my little brother, Isaac. That was on the day he was born. He was born in Maryland. I actually drove from Virginia Tech that day all the way to Maryland to go see him. I was trying to make it for the birth, but I didn't make it in time. But that's kind of one of the things. You can see out there, Colonel Montgomery and Cadet Grant. That's actually when he contracted for the Air Force. One of the things that I think is important is being there for friends, brothers. And so that was kind of that. My father and my brother of us in ABUs up at the top right. And my bud class down at the bottom right at IHOP. Each day we have the opportunity to share with other people. And as we're all going to the Air Force, we're going to be deployed globally, whether that be across the United States or across the world. So we have the opportunity to share each other's company and learn from each other. But if we don't interact, it's a wasted opportunity. Finally, the last thing I want to talk to you about is the impact you make on the world. I think that the impact you should make on the world is obviously a positive one, not a negative one. And one of the ideas that I really love is called paying it forward. So how many of you all have heard of paying it forward? Yeah, so the concept can be various methods, but basically what it boils down to is taking an act of kindness and sharing it with somebody else. And so different ways that you can do this are you can purchase food for the person behind you in line at a drive-thru, even just holding the door for somebody. I really think that these sorts of things, these random acts of kindness, are very infectious. And so when you do that, it can brighten somebody's day more than you ever understand. Sometimes, you know, if I'm having a rough day, I used to work at Target, and I would be at the cash register just scanning grocery items, clothes, etc., and you just kind of get bored and out of it. But the people that would actually stop to ask how my day was going just made the job go so much better. They brightened my day and made it go faster. And that's kind of the attitude that I think that we should take in life, is be there for each other and make a positive impact on those people. So to sum it up, one of the quotes that I love is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. This is a summary of his quote. It's to leave the world a bit better, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. And that's really what I think the philosophy of life is. It's to make sure that somebody else is breathing easier because of your existence. So in summary, I talked a little bit about why it's important to share the relationships with others, the impact that you have on other people, as well as the experiences that you have. Each day is unique, each day is a blessing, and you shouldn't squander the opportunity. If you think you can do it and it's going to be rough, try and do it. College is an amazing time where we have a lot of chances to try something new. And I've tried to spend every day doing something unique. I did that through the photo of the day thing, but you don't have to do a photo a day. It's a little bit difficult, but there's different ways that you can experience life. And so I just ask that you guys treat each day as if you were dying. Thank you.